On the last message, we went through the worksheet for creative problem solving and talked briefly about brainstorming, the technique of deferred judgment, thinking without judging, thinking with our mental brakes off. I spoke of the two kinds of brainstorming: individual ideation, a person thinking up solutions on his own, and group brainstorming, a number of people working together on a problem. Now in this message, I'd like to explore each of these techniques, go into them in greater depth. But first, consider for just a moment the middle ground between these two. This is the situation in which two people work together in creative collaboration and idea improvement. There are many good examples of this, ranging from Madame Curie and her husband to Rogers and Hammerstein. This team of two technique often works on the spark plug and brake system. One half of the team may be the thinker-upper, and the other half the toner-downer, the judge. So that's the middle ground, the team of two technique. It's productive, and I recommend you use it whenever you can. You might ask your wife or husband, a business associate, or a good friend to be the other half of the team. This kind of collaboration is a good way to prove the old saying that two heads are better than one. In this middle ground example, the team of two technique, I mentioned that one collaborator frequently acted as the thinker-upper, the spark plug, the other as the toner-downer, the brake. This is not brainstorming. In brainstorming, there are only thinker-uppers, only spark plugs. There are no toner-downers, no brakes, no critics, no judges, until all the ideas are in. Now let's get back to the solo method of brainstorming, the one we'll call individual ideation. As I said previously, your first step toward the solution of any problem is to define it clearly. The definition should be as succinct, as simply put as you can possibly make it. I suggest that you think about your problem until its nature and limits are so clear in your mind that you can easily write down the complete problem in one simple statement. A good working definition gives you a clear target at which to shoot. After your problem is well defined, you can then start your own personal solitary brainstorm, your individual ideation. Come up with and write down as many ideas, as many possible solutions as you can think of. This may not be easy at first. Very few things are the first time we try them, but it can be done. It takes enthusiasm, concentration, and perseverance to find the best ideas to solve a problem. When you start getting some ideas down on that sheet of paper, you find these ideas will enable you to come up with more, and they in turn will generate still more ideas. This is the kind of chain reaction that really gets things going creatively. Remember, you're striving now only for a quantity of ideas. Don't worry about quality, that'll come later. In fact, the development of quality is inevitable. Your best ideas seldom come first, so don't hold back. Go all out and keep going. Just as a navigator increases his chances of hitting his target with every additional bearing he takes, so do a large number of ideas increase the odds in favor of your hitting upon the best solution to a problem. Strive for variety in your ideas. When you've put down as many as you can think of, try asking yourself, all right, what's next? The French novelist Stendhal stated the case for quantity over a century ago when he said, I require 3 or 4 cubic feet of new ideas a day, as a steamboat requires coal. So try anything and everything, and be sure to write down every idea you get. One of this country's most imaginative inventors, Charles Kettering, worked for 6 years developing his new diesel engine. He tried first one approach and then another until, as he said, the engine finally told us exactly what it wanted. In the same way, your problems may very likely pick their own best solutions if you'll just give them enough choices, a large enough quantity and variety of ideas. Well, that's individual ideation, your own private brainstorm. Let's move now to group brainstorming. This is the technique in which a number of people hold a meeting with a single purpose in mind, to think up together as many ideas as possible in order to solve one well-defined problem. Between 5 and 10 participants seems to be the best size for such a gathering. It's a good idea to let each member of the brainstorm know in advance of the session the problem to be worked on. Be sure they have as clear a written statement of the problem as you can possibly provide. Knowing the problem, each of them can spend from a few minutes to a few days in personal research and individual ideation before the meeting. When the brainstorm group gathers, make sure each member has a pad and pencil with which to capture ideas he might otherwise lose before he gets a chance to present them to the group. Have someone present to take notes, to record every idea that's produced. Later, these notes should be transcribed and passed along to the brainstormers for further improvement and combination of the ideas. Always have a leader, but keep the brainstorm as informal as possible. Encourage everyone to speak up. Before starting, it's helpful to run briefly through the 4 rules for brainstorming. 1. No negative thinking allowed. The wilder the ideas, the better. 2. Suspend judgment. The ideas will be judged afterward. 3. You want the largest possible quantity of ideas. And 4. Combination and improvement of ideas is what you're after. Then, let the storming begin. Attack the problem from all sides and without let-up. You'll find there's a chain reaction that takes place when the ideas start flowing, like a string of firecrackers going off, one right after the other. It isn't unusual for 10 people to come up with 100 ideas in half an hour, so expect results. Studies of the brainstorm technique show that a given number of people working together on a single problem will be more than 50% more effective, come up with at least half again more ideas than the same number of people working individually. Along with the chain reaction, one idea leading to another, there's a friendly rivalry and personal interaction that increases individual performance in a brainstorming session. Well, there they are, 2 excellent methods for finding the best solution to a problem: individual ideation and group brainstorming. Both are based on the amazingly simple procedure of thinking things up, writing them down, improving them, and judging them only after all the ideas are in. The secret of this system's effectiveness lies in the number of ideas it generates. Thomas Edison said, "I'll try anything. I'll even try Limburger cheese." So try anything, try everything, and write it all down. That's brainstorming, and it gets results. Thank you. Let's continue where we left off with your worksheet for creative problem solving. We've now covered steps 1 through 6. We've defined the problem, we've searched out and rounded up the facts on the problem, we've learned how to individually ideate, and we talked about using the technique of deferred judgment in both individual ideation and group brainstorming. Now, after coming up with ideas on how to solve the problem, we need to evaluate these ideas and take action on them. Too often we tend to underemphasize these 2 final steps, evaluation and action, yet they're vital steps in creativity. Ideas need to be rated carefully before they can be implemented. There are many scales we can use. Among the most useful are 2, effectiveness and facility. First, how effective a solution to the problem the idea is likely to be, and second, how easy or how difficult it might be to put the idea into action. So after looking over all your ideas, first rate them according to how effective you can reasonably expect them to be, very effective, probably effective, or doubtful. Then rate them for facility or ease of implementation, easy, not so easy, or difficult. Effectiveness and facility make a good 2-way screen for your brainstorm ideas. Remember, you're now judging ideas. This is the time for cold, hard thinking. Suppose you're a manufacturer. And suppose your sales and marketing team brainstorm comes up with some ideas to increase sales. Let's say one of the ideas is to revamp completely one of the products that your company is offering to the public. Let's rate this idea. First, in terms of effectiveness. You know the present product meets a need and is acceptable to the buying public. What about an entirely changed product? Without a lot of marketing tests and then a period of actual manufacturing for sale, it would be hard to say just how effective this idea would be in increasing sales. Better rate it doubtful. And how does this idea of completely revamping one of the products check out on the facility screen? Easy, not so easy, or difficult? It would be difficult, wouldn't it? It would require new engineering, new tools, new manufacturing plans, new packaging, new marketing methods. Suppose, however, that one of the salesman's ideas is to feature the company's product on a network television program. This would be probably effective. It would be not so easy, but it could be done. Now, suppose another idea is to set up a new motivational or sales incentive program, a program directed to those people who are at the front of the problem, the salesman. If it were a well-designed and implemented motivational or incentive program, it would stand a good chance of being very effective. It would be easy to do. It should increase the company's sales. There are many other evaluation yardsticks you might use. 2 more are time and money. Try rating your ideas against these measurements. For example, in the case of the manufacturer who wants to increase his sales, certainly to change the product would take a great deal of time and money. And to advertise it on a popular network television program would cost a great deal of money. On the other hand, to introduce a new motivational or sales incentive program might be neither too costly nor too time-consuming. So when you evaluate your ideas, measure them against these 4 rating yardsticks: effectiveness, facility, time, cost. Every idea you have may not be worth creative action, and that's why you must skillfully evaluate each of them. But once you've carefully judged your ideas, it's time to take action. Now let's look at ways to act on your ideas. This action step seems to be one of the most difficult. It requires hard work, and most of us don't like hard work. But rewards can't come without action. Here's an example. Several years ago, one of the telephone companies had a major problem. It was how to prevent ice from forming on communication wires and breaking them. For months, the engineers worked hard on the problem. Finally, they decided to brainstorm it. During the brainstorm, one idea was to fly helicopters at a low altitude over the wires. The downdraft from the rotors would blow away the ice. The idea was tried. It was put into action. It worked. Result? No more ice on wires and thousands of dollars saved. Now let's look at section number 8 on our worksheet for creative problem solving. It's titled Action Plan. First, you select and list the idea or ideas you plan to act upon. Second, you decide who might take the action. For example, your boss, your general manager, sales manager, advertising manager, or yourself. Third, you determine when is the best time to take action. Timing is a critical factor in the introduction of a new idea. Wrong timing might short-circuit an idea and cause its failure. So watch the timing of your idea's introduction. We can all think of past great ideas that flopped because of bad timing. Fourth, decide where the action might be taken. For example, in your office, in the factory, or at the next board of directors meeting. The staging is important, so pay attention to exactly where the idea is introduced. Fifth, you need to determine how the idea might be implemented. For example, if it's a new way to increase sales, perhaps direct mail might be used, or advertising in newspapers, or perhaps radio or TV might be the way to get the idea across. Sixth and finally, always give yourself 2 deadlines. First, a date on which you want to start putting your idea into action, and second, a date by which you want to complete the action, have the problem solved. Deadlines spur the mind to creative action. Too often, most of us fail to do anything with our ideas. One reason is that we fear failure. Here I think it's well to remember that mistakes are often stepping stones to success. Success never crowns those afraid to try. The point is that to be productive, ideas must be implemented. Weigh carefully the idea you plan to put into action. Plan how you'll take the action, then take action. Well, that completes our talking through your worksheet for creative problem solving. The worksheet's a handy tool. It helps you to think, both creatively and judiciously, and it also prods you into action, and that's good. Thank you.